Well, hi there, it's Polly here. Cheers. With the indomitable Mr. Snoots, who has served as my opponent in many a solo board game. Anywho, he also sometimes runs NPCs in role-playing games, but I'm going to talk to you about a game called Urban Mages. This is a good, simple, fun little game and is surprisingly engaging. And one of the things I like about it is it starts off very early giving advice to new players. This is something that can be played very easily with people who have not done role-playing games before. But I do like one of the things that says that passion is the key. Play your characters passionately. Kind of buy into the world passionately. Find a cause. Believe in the things that your character believes in. You know, hate the things it hates, fear the things it fears. So yeah, a lovely piece of work. It's a D10 system. It's pretty simple. You're rolling a D10, adding bonuses from characteristics and from relevant skills, and trying to roll over and above a set task number. Easy. You are all mages, and you are in an urban environment. This could be based on the absolute modern day. It could be based on a period that you feel like. You might want to set this in the 70s. You might want it to be swinging 60s. It could be the mighty 90s. Whatever. But magic works, and there are some kind of mystic elements that most people in the world don't see, but you guys are definitely engaged with that. This is a game where you create a world sort of between the players and the umpire. It's a joint project. Obviously you don't have to do that, but this is how the game is aimed. So to create a character, and this is what I love, you have characteristics, you have a set number of points that you can split between things, your agility, your perception, your mana, these sorts of things. You will have magic spells and so on that you can use, but all magic has a purview. You have essentially a theme to your magic. Your theme, it could be lollies, marshmallows and sugary cakes. It could be based around, card cup to Sakura style magical trading cards. It could be tied to a particular theme. There is a list of spells. It's not an overwhelming list of spells. I think there's actually about 13 different spells. It's quite clear on how you can use them and what can be done, but these will all be modified in their use by your purview. How does your character actually use these things? They have some wonderful examples. Yes, they have like someone who's mage. Here's a sort of a kind of a hip musician-y kind of mage. He's used music and so on. That's his purview. It's kind of a sonic music. It does, isn't it? They've had someone. This is a stuffy kind of British Empire-y sort of thing. He's got a sort of a bit of a thing on that. They have one character that is a car. They've put a mini miner in there. That is the character. You can just see like little eyes in the headlights, but in character design they have taken a purview that gives them some bonuses and abilities, but they're based on a car. So you can pick things for your character that have quirks, and these can be positive and negative. They can get you more or less points, of course. So for instance, if you're taking the car, the bonus is that you can go like a bat out of hell. You can go at car speeds. The negative is that you are large, you do not fit into doors, you do not get inside, most normal buildings and so on, and you have no opposable thumbs. So you can't really pick things up and do things yourself. That doesn't mean you can't use like telekinesis and so on, but that is a spell which uses mana. More on that in a minute. In their examples, they have people who have decided to take, talking cats or whatever turns them on for this world, and it will, ideally your magic that you choose will work only in certain ways. Some spells like, for instance, teleport. It says it is limited and can only work within something that is limited by your purview. So for instance, the British Empire guy says he can teleport, but only to places that were once in the British Empire. And it is easier to do them anywhere where the flag still flies. So, all right, fair enough. The car can only teleport from basically open road. He has to be going more than like 50 miles an hour to be able to teleport. Great. This all adds to role-playing and adds to fun, and it gives you the limits in which your powers work. The cat, it might be it can teleport, but it will only do it as it like jumps from one rooftop to another, or if it finds a narrow space, goes into it and kind of, you know, suddenly does a turnaround. Whatever seems to work. You're making this your own. As you design characters, you can come up with powers. You have a budget of extra things to buy. So you could choose to be, and there's a list of powers that you can choose. So you could be a vampire. You could be someone that's immortal and tough and has other abilities that tie in with that, but has vulnerabilities that tie in with that. You could be a ghost. They've got that in as an example. So you are not really corporeal. So sure, you can go through walls, but you can't pick stuff up. You can just really customize this to be whatever you feel like being, which is kind of why it's really nice, both for brand new players who are often frustrated by the weird constraints that are put on characters. Why do I have to be a fighter? Why do I have to be like an orc or an elf? So the sky's the limit here, as long as you can kind of think of a theme, and that theme helps you make the game yours. Huge list of all the different powers and so on that you can gain. You get some experience points to spend. That can be to get you extra powers or extra skills, up your characteristics, that sort of thing. The characteristics are done pretty simply by splitting some numbers between the characteristics. You will only have characteristics like, you know, 1 or 2 or 3, because these are a bonus on a d10 when you roll. Easy peasy, but full of imagination. Now, world building is a big part of it. So they say ideally the person running the game should have like a pitch. They should have something that they feel like doing. I'm wanting to do a very steampunky kind of world. It's slightly crazy 19th century. No, it's going to be in the modern world. But I want this to be where there's some kind of rift and alien entities, Cthulhuid entities, are kind of creeping in. So this is where the next part comes in. But you have the player group suggest factions, things that are at work in this world. They could be positive or negative ones. So the umpire, for instance, might say, this is a world where these rifts have appeared and horrible Cthulhuid magic is starting to leak through. There are people who've been able to contact it, and this thing is promising them immense power, provided you do just a few favours for these strange entities. Just do a few things for them and they'll give you access to some power. Right, so that umpire then has got an idea for this malicious, insidious thing. Obviously that's going to give you opponents. People can come up with, right, there's an esoteric order that has known this is coming. It says, all right, let's say that's very secretive, and they're trying to hide it, so they're trying to basically cover it all up. They don't want the public to know. Right, that could work against players as much as it could work for them. What else do you want? A corrupt politician group who are actually supposedly like, hey, we've got a new vision for the world and everything's going to be up. They're actually working for these guys. Yeah, we could do that. What about a cabal of old kind of Cthulhu, Call of Cthulhu style adventures from the old days, they're hidden somewhere, but they've got knowledge about what's going on, because we don't strictly know what's going on. If we could find these guys, maybe they could be a help. So you can build a dynamic and active scenario between you, and this creates a world that you all share in, and this is where your adventures will come from. It's bright, it's positive, it's full of passion, It's full of fun. The hilarity of being able to, you know, run around as a mini miner or a cat, or as a vampire, or as a ghost, or just as some, like, you know, crazy kid or some musician, or, you know, fantastic array of things that you can do. There's a cute little mechanism, which essentially there's a game currency of positive and negative points. You have to spend mana to cast a spell. Mana is a finite resource. But when it runs out, you can say that you are recharging your mana. But if you do, you make a little roll against your sort of your character's insights and so on. You might get away with it, or you will recharge, but the umpire gets 1 or 2 misfortune counters. These can be used to basically make you re-roll any successful rolls that your characters have made. These things trip you up. As you do heroic and amazing things, you can also be rewarded with fortune markers, which can counter these or can buy you a re-roll on anything that you've screwed up. So you can, it's about being an urban mage, so there's never any real restriction on you using your magic. But if you overuse it to a point where all of you are having to recharge your mana, the evil forces you're fighting against gain more of these misfortune counters to use on you. So you're going to have to be a little bit judicious in how you use your power. So again, a simple mechanism gives you a moment of thought before you fling stuff around, but this isn't a game where they really expect you to cross swords with someone or, you know, do a kung fu fight. You are going to have a battle of throwing different spells, putting up your counter spells to fend those off. Decide this doesn't work. Damn it, I'm going to leap off the bridge into the water, and I'm going to turn into a smacking dolphin as I hit the water and escape. You know, these are the kind of combat scenarios they're envisioning. Yes, you could hit someone or whatever, but fun anime-esque style, or something more like, what would I call it? This game would work for something like Miraculous Ladybug, or something where people have got powers and spells. You know, it can be something that sweet as well. So look, I think it's an excellent game for new players. They won't be daunted by the number of choices. I think they might find those a delight. For more experienced players, I think that ability to kind of build a character with the purview, which goes into your physical character kind of presentation but affects how all of their magic and everything works, I think that's really colourful and damn good fun. And I think that idea of kind of cooking up a world between you before you begin is kind of great. You're all invested in the game. It's not being imposed on you. This is something you all got excited about together, which is where that passion comes from that's going to make you enjoy playing it. Yeah, the umpire will go off and figure out some interesting scenarios to hit you with, but you handed them the tools to do it, just as they are handing you the tools to enjoy your adventures. This is a good bit of work, and it's a good demonstration of how really solid and enjoyable a clear and simple piece of game design can be. It doesn't have to be deep-seated layers of charts and tables. A good way of resolving skill use and conflict, and a good set of tools for making your characters colourful and buying into the world. That's a fantastic piece of work, particularly when it's expressed in so few pages. It's an easy read. I think it's definitely one for your collection. Definitely cheers to the designer, because this is good work. Bright, cheerful, accessible, fun, incredibly flexible. It's a great piece of work. Anyway, hard times out there for everyone in marginalised communities, particularly in the USA and in places like the UK. Watch out for yourselves, take care of your personal safety, keep your joy, let no one ever take that away from you, and take no crap from anything. Much love to you all. I hope I meet you around the games table someday. Cheers, everyone. Oh, you want some too? Alright, there he goes. Alright, you want to turn it off?